the increasing culture of alcoholism?
One word, it's scary.
I am asking a doctor today, how are you feeling today? I was so tempted to even start by doing a cheers with you. In the name of social drinking, whether it's an office party today, whether it's a birthday celebration, or even if it's a sad occasion, there has to be a couple of bottles in the house and there has to be a celebration where they go to a resto bar, they go drink and party. Does it make a difference drinking local saraku or imported saraku?
The revenue from Tasmac is huge. It's 30,000 crores.
Oh. Yeah.
Total prohibition will not work. It takes about 15 years on an average for the liver to get damaged. That one drink a day is not going to knock your liver off.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Konversation with Katie, like we call it. It is first of a kind, one of a kind, Chennai's happy podcast. We talk to a lot of guests here, know about their journey. எல்லாரோட ஜேர்னியும் வந்து டிஃப்ரெண்ட்டாக இருக்கும்ல. அவங்க சோஷியல் மீடியாவில் they show the good part of it, but there is also a lot of work that goes behind. We try to find out what that work is. அவங்களோட ஜேர்னி எப்படி இருந்திருக்கு, what are the obstacles that they had to face, what was their first paycheck like, இந்த மாதிரியான நிறைய அவங்க விஷயம் அவங்க ஜேர்னியில் we sit and we talk in this podcast. So if you like it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and you can also find snippets of it, சின்ன videos of it on the Instagram and YouTube shorts. So you know where to find me and you know the drill. Today's podcast is going to be intensely special. That's only because we talk about an organ which is known as the superhero or the silent organ of the body. It has of immense importance, and in the era of culture that we see, that எங்க போனாலும் வந்து there is a social drinking, ஒரு happy occasion இருந்தாலும் சரி, ஒரு சோகமான occasion இருந்தாலும் சரி, there are a lot of implications, and you will be surprised to know that every street food nala kuda you can actually develop a liver disease. A lot of information by someone who is fondly known as the liver specialist, Dr. Vivek Shanmugam. He is going to be here with us and talking in this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome Dr. Vivek Shanmugam.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
First, let me ask, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. It's an irony that I am asking a doctor today, how are you feeling today? So, you know, why I started that introduction, that even if it's a happy occasion or a sad occasion today, I was so tempted to even start by doing a cheers with you.
Oh yeah.
Okay, sir. Cheers.
Absolutely.
But with this rise in culture, I think it is becoming a very normal thing to say that, okay, come, let's have a couple of drinks. In the name of social drinking, whether it's an office party today, whether it's a birthday celebration, or even if it's a sad occasion, there has to be a couple of bottles in the house and there has to be a celebration where they go to a resto bar, they go drink and party. But what is your take on it, the increasing culture of alcoholism?
I think if I just use one word, it's scary. You know, I think as a liver surgeon, and as they say, you know, it comes from the horse's mouth. You know, the amount of people suffering secondary to alcoholism is huge, and it's on the rise. You know, and it's time now that we have some full stop or comma or semicolon to this, else the future generations are going to suffer. As you rightly put it, in fact, I've even spoken about this in one of my talk shows earlier, that, you know, செத்தாலும் தண்ணி அடிக்கிறோம், இப்போ யாரா பிறந்தாலும் தண்ணி அடிக்கிறோம், வேலை கச்சா தண்ணி அடிக்கிறோம். You know, if you're going to get married, you drink. You know, if you get a divorce, you drink. After marriage, you drink. You know, you just drink for every damn occasion. You know, the problem is that we don't know the moderation. You know, alcohol is prevalent worldwide, but if you see the Western countries, the number of people dying of liver disease secondary to alcohol is only second or third on the line. In India, it is alcohol. If I see 10 patients in a day, 7 to 8 of them are secondary to alcohol. And I've been in this practice, at least in India, for the last 15 years now. And what I have seen is that the more younger age group are coming into transplant with
Really?
liver disease secondary to alcohol. Earlier, it was anything between 50 to 60, because if you drink, it takes about 15 years on an average for the liver to get damaged. Liver is quite a resilient organ. I mean, it takes all crap which you put into it for very long time. It would never complain,
Okay.
and only after at least, I mean, 50% of the function is lost, it starts complaining. Okay, so it takes about 15 years, 17, 20 years for the liver to complain, and then come to a stage called cirrhosis, which is shrinkage of the liver. From there, patient goes on to transplant. So that was about 50 to 60 years. Now we are seeing patients at 30s and 40s, which means they've been drinking from 18. From the 18th birthday, they're drinking.
True.
You see the number of pubs that are increasing, number of Tasmak shops that are increasing. So across the board, from the lower socioeconomic status to the higher socioeconomic status, everyone's drinking. It's increasing, and it's time that we have some regulation to this. I think as a surgeon, as a liver specialist, what I've noticed is the awareness is not there. The awareness needs to be created. Everyone knows alcohol is bad.
Yeah.
Everyone knows alcohol is bad. The problem is, what does it do to your body? No one knows, right? Now, the governments across the world, especially the Western governments, have given some guidelines. They've never said don't drink. Okay, though of course studies have come which have said that even one single drink increases the risk of cancer. There are enough good quality studies, scientific studies, which have given that information. Okay, but of course they know that people are going to drink. So what the government has done is taken the initiative and given them the guidelines, saying, okay, this many units of alcohol you couldn't have a week. Don't accumulate the units of alcohol. Give 2 or 3 days break in between. Okay, so on and so forth. Okay, that kind of guidelines need to come into our country, right? That the government needs to understand that in the future is going to get affected. Especially if you see Tamil Nadu government, their revenue from Tasmac is huge. It's 30,000 crores per annum. Okay, but what they also don't realize is the lower socioeconomic status drink like crazy. Okay, they end up in government hospitals where the government spends taking care of these patients again. So they earn money from somewhere and spend somewhere else. So the coffers are still empty only. So this money is not with the government anytime. So they just spent. So this is crazy stuff, and I think the government should regulate the selling of alcohol. In fact, one talk I've given where I give an idea where you can link your Aadhaar card to buying of alcohol. You say, okay, per week you can only buy half a liter or 1 quarter or 2 quarter or whatever it is. Thereby I think black market will thrive, but unfortunately, but definitely the levels of alcoholic liver disease will come down, I feel. Okay, of course there are states like Gujarat where you're from, right? Prohibition is 100%.
Yes.
But trust me, I've transplanted enough number of patients from Gujarat. Okay, secondary to alcoholic liver disease.
Yeah,
right.
I will agree.
So there's good examples which suggest that total prohibition will not work.
Doesn't.
Okay, education is the must. Knowledge is power, and I think people should be educated about alcohol. That is crucial. Youngsters are going crazy. Yes. I mean, at least the Western world, it's a Friday night pub and a Saturday night pub, and Sunday they don't want, because Monday they want to go to work.
Yeah.
Here, partying and socializing is 6 days, 7 days, and if there's 8th day, they can go on the 8th day also. So it is sad in a way, because not many see the number of families that crumble down.
True.
How many times I've seen the wives and the son and the children, come and cry Because if see the middle income group is the most affected.
Yes.
Okay, the chunk of the population is the middle income group, and that is a group that is affected. Okay, and people don't realize that they lose their livelihood. Their social life is gone. Financially they are extremely down. They earn a mere 50,000, 1 lakh, and half of it is spent. And when the liver is diseased, they spend more.
True.
And what happens to the family? They don't know what to do. I mean, they go beg, borrow, steal, do whatever to save their only sole breadwinning guy of the family. I've never seen. I have to say, I've never seen friends bring in an alcoholic liver disease patient. Never. I asked them, "Where's your friend with whom you were drinking? Where is he? He's not here. He's not give you. He's not going to give you half of a liver to survive. He's not going to give you money, okay, to have the transplant done. He's not going to pay your hospital bills. I've not even seen them come and donate blood. So friendship is important. I mean, I have enough number of friends. My God, my father, just shouts at me most of the time because I have truckload of friends. But I think we have to be sensible because there are so many things. Statistics say that 3.3 million people die across the world secondary to alcoholic liver disease. 3.3 million, that's 33 lakhs.
Number.
Okay. Of course, it's not only liver disease. Okay. There's enough association between alcoholism and cancers. Enough proven association.
Yeah.
Okay. There's enough association between road traffic accidents and cancers. I'm sorry, and alcoholic liver disease. Enough. Okay. Of course, sexual life is gone. Okay. Social life is gone. Yeah. You fight with your children. You fight with your parents. You fight with your wife. The peace is gone. Financially, you're drained. Okay. So alcoholism does more bad than good.
Right.
That is the statement, right? And people should understand that. I'm not here to say don't drink or drink, but think.
Think.
I think you have to think.
Maybe the pleasure is only for like a couple of moments now.
Correct.
But the implication, the negative impact,
absolutely,
is huge.
huge.
And it's long way.
Yeah. I mean, this goes, as I said, for an alcoholic guy to end up with end-stage liver disease, it takes about 15 years. Got it. Of course, people who drink in the morning, there are people, even yesterday I saw a guy who says, I have a quarter in the morning.
Really?
And then when I feel a bit funny, I have another quarter.
I thought this culture was only there in Britain. Like only British people do day drinking.
No. You'll be surprised.
Really?
You'll be surprised. He's a government employee, and I asked him, how on God's earth you go to work after so much of drink?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
They do work?
They do work.
Oh.
Of course, they do work. I won't tell what he works as, but yeah, they do work.
When you were talking about how friends don't bring in, it's always the family and how the whole family shatters. Any one core memory or the most devastating experience that you've seen in front of your eyes? Because I think first of all, with this opportunity, I'd also like to applaud all the doctor and the doctor communities, because it takes a very strong heart to be in such a situation where honestly you're helpless. All you can do is do your best in trying to save the patient, but seeing a whole family crumble in front of you, that takes the heart of a gold. So thank you to you and all the fellow doctors who keep doing this every day for us. But what is the one experience or one core memory that you'd never forget about a patient, if you're comfortable telling about it? You might not have to reveal the details, but the story about the patient.
I think there are, of course, we see enough number of alcoholic liver disease patients, but one happy thing which I want to share is because I just met someone a couple of days ago, and I saw him about 6-7 years ago. He was I think in his early 40s, and his parents had brought him to me saying, he's alcoholic liver disease. He was a divorcee. His daughter was studying elsewhere, and he needed a transplant. Some doctor said he needed a transplant.
Okay.
And then I examined him and said, I think we should wait and see what happens. And then I gave him some time. He got better. And then and then he moved out of the country for a couple of years, and he came back and saw me a couple of days ago, and I was so thrilled and happy because he looks so well without a transplant. The simple fact is that you stop alcohol, your body gets so much better.
Your body is going to repair
Yeah,
itself.
it just regenerates. The liver would repair itself. Your mind becomes clear. And he is doing so much with his life. It is quite amazing, and I was so thrilled and happy. I wish I could bring him here and make him talk in front of the camera to say, tell the people, everyone, that that you stop alcohol, things would get better. So that is one happy
Happy
story.
story, yeah.
Happy story. Of course, there are enough number of sad stories, because if I see 10 patients and 6 or 7 of them are alcoholic liver disease, not everyone would come for a transplant, because it is an expensive
Of course.
procedure. They would not be able to afford it. Okay, enough number of families have pulled the plug off and said, don't do anything because we just can't afford it. I think that there are a huge number of stories which I've seen. I've also seen good stories where there's a this I mean, he's now more a friend than a patient to me. About he is 32, 33 when I first saw him.
Okay.
And he came in with lots of scars on his hand, and his mother had brought him to my clinic, and I said, what's happening? So his mom, he was 32 years old, and his mom said that he's got alcoholic liver disease and he's addicted to alcohol. And I said, what are the scars on your hand? He said that he's had about 10 different surgeries on both his hands, because after alcohol he just starts driving and then meets an accident all the time. So apart from that, then we admitted him, and then we are trying to do something, and then he said, doc, you won't get any veins because I'm a drug addict too. Then of course we managed something, and then we transplanted him 32, and he's now I think 43, 44. He's married, he's got a child. He's a vice president in a company in another city. And that's one happy story. That's one happy story. And every time for his birthday, he wishes me for his birthday. I feel so happy.
sweet.
But there are a lot. But I like to remember more of the happy things. That because that gives us the energy to move forward.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's a new life which these people have. So we're so happy for that.
You kept mentioning about this, that the family brought in, or they recognize liver disease, the one that they're having. What are the symptoms that you see?
So the symptoms would vary
Okay.
depending on the amount of alcohol one takes and the frequency with which they take. Okay. So someone with what we call acute alcoholic hepatitis, which means they're just binge drinking for the last 3-4 weeks, like crazy. They would present with jaundice, yellow eyes, yellow urine, feeling weak, feeling lethargic, don't want to do anything, not interested in the society, withdrawal symptoms. So jaundice will be the first thing in patients who've been acutely drinking, right? But patients who've been chronically drinking and they end up with liver disease for about in 15 years, 20 years time, the first thing they'll notice is swelling of the legs.
Okay.
That's the first symptom.
Okay.
That's 8 out of 10 times that's the first thing that happens.
Okay.
And then your
The
tummy,
whole of legs or just the feet?
the whole of the legs. Of
Okay.
course, it starts with the whole of the leg. The ankle, it stops at the ankle,
Got it.
and then slowly it goes up. But by the time they would realize that something is not right, half of them still don't realize that something is not right. They feel, oh, I've been sitting in one position for a long time. I've been traveling in a bus for a long time.
Yeah.
I've been standing and working for a long time. So it's nothing. They would just ignore it. So I always tell people swelling of the legs is not a common phenomena. Something is wrong in your body, so you go get yourself checked. Now, so swelling of the legs is first thing. Second is swelling of your tummy. Okay. Third thing, classically we say alteration of sleep pattern. Okay. Which means they sleep more during the daytime and less during the night time. Okay. Of course, I've had IT professionals who come and say,
Yeah.
"Doc, that's how we work anyway." So it doesn't mean I have liver disease.
Yeah.
No, of course not. But patients we have to put everything together. With the history of alcoholism, lethargy, tiredness, we say poverty above and plenty below, which means that they lose all the muscle mass in the top of the body up to the tummy.
Okay.
Okay, and then they become skinny and bony, and you say, "Oh, your collarbone is seen, your chest bone is seen. What's happening?" But then below, they're all swollen up.
Okay.
Okay, that's because of the disease. They
Right.
start accumulating fluid in the more dependent parts of the body.
Right.
Of course, jaundice happens, which is yellowing of the eyes and yellow urine. In advanced cases, people vomit blood. People develop liver cancers. So it is scary actually. So there are lots of bad things do happen
Understood.
with liver disease.
Okay. So they have to watch out for these symptoms,
Absolutely.
and I think that's one thing with Indian mentality. I feel
Yeah.
any like for example, when you told the swelling of the legs, they'll be like,
Yeah.
yeah, fine.
Yeah,
It might be
absolutely.
because I'm working too much. I'm walking or like I'm standing.
Yeah.
This seriousness takes a while to come, and in that while, the symptoms just develop.
Yep,
They go to a
absolutely.
greater extent. Do you see that a lot? That this waiting, like, doctor, I thought it was nothing. I just
Absolutely.
thought it
Oh,
was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because of
They're
some
not,
other
see,
reason.
the health is never in a radar.
Yeah,
Never.
yeah.
Okay. Of course, off late, some maybe 5% awareness is there, but unless we really fall sick, or unless there is a family member who's already ill, then we get scared a bit, and then we go to the doctor or do a master health checkup or so on and so forth. Okay. Otherwise, we never take care of our health.
Yeah.
Always give lots of examples. One is you take your mobile. This mobile, our mobile phone lasts for 3 years, 4 years max. But there are people who even change it once a year.
Yeah.
Okay, even if you're going to change once a year, you have a cover for that. You have a screen guard for that. You make sure it's protected so well.
Yeah.
You have a bike, you have a car. You
Yeah.
you make sure there's an insurance for the car. You get your MOT or you get your annual check.
Yeah.
You change oil, change your filters, whatnot.
The AC in the house.
Yeah,
There has
absolutely.
to be a checkup.
Absolutely. So for inanimate objects, we give so much importance, right? We have only one body
Yeah.
to live for 80 years, 90 years, right? Why don't we take care of that?
Right.
Why don't we be aware of how your brain works? You don't be a doctor. Just a few things. What's happening in the brain? What's happening in the heart? How many times it beats?
Makes sense.
Right? What does the liver do? How many functions does the liver do? What does the kidney does? What's your blood sugar level? What's your normal cholesterol level? Okay, these small things, okay, will go in a long way, because you see, 80% of the diseases can be prevented.
Is it?
Yeah, it's all lifestyle modifications and being sensible and being healthy. Take all the NCDs, non-communicable diseases. Diabetes, hypertension. All these things can be prevented, right? Because you just need to know what to eat, what not to eat. 30 minutes of exercise in a day, right? 80% of liver disease can be prevented. In our country, the three most common causes of liver disease: one is alcohol, second is what we call fatty liver disease, three is what we call viral hepatitis-induced liver disease.
Okay.
Okay, but of course there are certain things which come genetically, which of course we don't have control. But most of them we do have a lot of control, and of course cancers we don't have control. We know that certain things can cause
Yeah.
cancers. We know smoking can cause cancer. We know alcohol can cause cancers. We also now know that vaccines can prevent certain types of cancers, right? For example, a cervical cancer can be prevented by a vaccine. Hepatitis B virus,
Yeah.
which affects the liver, can be prevented by a simple vaccine. So there are certain vaccines which we require, certain health style changes which we require, certain food changes which we require. Okay, if we just the awareness which is what is required, and we can go on a long way to preventing diseases. We never exercise, do we? 30 minutes of exercise. Yeah, there was a nice published paper which came 2-3 months ago in the Lancet, which said all you need is 22 minutes of exercise. 24 hours in a day.
22 minutes.
All you need is 22 minutes of exercise in a day,
Yeah.
which will prevent lots of diseases.
Yeah.
Okay, people it's a fashionable statement to say, oh no, I don't have time. Boss, it's 24 hours in a day. I'm sure you can find 30 minutes
Yeah.
to jog, cycle, run.
100%. And I think it's also the mindset. Like a lot of people today, they only get into fitness if at all they want a transformation,
Yeah.
or if at all they feel they are getting in the obese category, the body is not fitting certain standards. I think only then they sign up for gym membership, they go to badminton or other activities.
Yeah.
Other than that, this overall health perspective somehow only comes up after they turn 50 or 55. They're like, okay, now I'm getting old, now maybe I need to start getting
Also
into
the
fitness.
the social status also
True,
matters.
very true.
Yeah, and so how many can afford a 15-20,000 per annum gym membership or a shuttle court membership? For the middle class, what happens is, oh, I need to survive today. I need to go to work at 8 o'clock, otherwise I'm going to be penalized. No, the wife cooks food for everyone 3 meals a day, and then she goes to work. The children come back, they take care of them. Where's the time?
True.
So I think the culture also needs to change.
Yeah.
Somewhere the workplace culture needs to change. Workplace interventions are required. An IT professional. I feel there should be a small gym in an IT in an IT company.
Yes.
You can have a small Zumba session in an IT
Yes.
company, right? So I think so many different things can be introduced. A routine blood check can be introduced in the family. School children. I mean, I should say today I saw a 20-year-old kid, okay, who's weighing 130 kilograms.
Really?
Would you believe that? A 20-year-old kid weighing 130 kilograms. So this did not happen overnight. I'm sure it happened from 12 years, 13 years when he was just filling his tummy with junk.
Yeah.
Right? So that is, so school intervention is required. School education is required.
True.
I think we have to change the mindset of people, educate them about health, which is so important, because money can come and go.
Yeah.
But health, if it comes, it goes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I think it is very important. Cannot all put it up on the parents, because school also goes hand in hand. A child is spending nearly about 8 hours at your institution.
Yeah.
We can very much put it in a holistic well-being and development use.
True.
And parents also nowadays, I think it's only because again they use the statement, we don't have time. They will buy the child everything and anything that he asks for, just so that please keep calm and let me do my work.
Yeah.
So that lifestyle shift does need to happen. We'll come back more on these liver diseases, but a little, let's go a little back. Why don't you please tell us like a story? Where are you from? What have you studied?
You want the
and
story
why?
or a real story? Real truth would you need?
I want the truth. And why out of all the professions did you choose liver to specialize in liver?
So the funny thing is, I was not supposed to be a doctor at all, actually.
Really?
Yeah. So I can admit in front of camera that I fell short by, I think, a couple of marks in my entrance exams. So my father said, that's okay, you'll get an engineering seat, I think you should do engineer. Of course, my father is a doctor, but my
He's also a liver doctor?
I'll tell about that story later.
Okay.
Yeah. And my grandfather got very upset.
Okay.
He said, that's not on. I mean, my grandson cannot be anything else other than a doctor.
Oh.
So he pushed my father, and my uncle pushed my father, and I ended up being a doctor. Of course, now I don't regret. Whatever I have now, I owe to these two people. They are no longer with us, but I think they've just done everything for me in my life. Then, of course, I went on and did my graduation, and then I went off to UK for some time where I did my formal liver training,
Okay.
which was
Which
lovely.
university did you go to?
So I was in UK in Birmingham,
Uh-huh.
and then I worked some time in London,
Right.
and then I did my training in living donor liver transplant in Seoul, Korea. And then I've been here now. This is the 15th year running in this country.
Wow.
So when we came in and started liver work, at that time in India, that was 2009-10. There were about 20 surgeons in India who could do liver transplants.
And
And
what's the count today?
well, it's maybe it's 250, 300.
We've gone
Uh,
10x.
Yeah, 10x. But still, for a population of 1.3 billion, there are about only 300 liver doctors. No, and imagine in 2010, we are only 10 among a billion. That was good fun. But we worked quite a bit to put some systems in place to
When you say
set
quite
this
a
up.
bit, how many hours is it in a day?
No, even now I work 6.5 days a week.
Okay.
But those times, I mean, we used to stay I've stayed in hospital for 72 hours at a stretch. Not
At a stretch.
at a stretch. Not seeing my family, stay there, or because there's no one else who was trained. Only a handful of people were there where I started. So only 4 of us started there. 4 of us trained surgeons were there. At that point, the city had only 2 units who can do transplants. So the other unit had 2 surgeons and we had 4 surgeons. So in our hospital, we used to. So it's 4 weekends. So we need to cover. So Friday morning when I come, I go back Monday morning. That's how we used to work. So to answer your another question, why I loved liver surgery. Liver surgery is quite demanding. We put in long hours of operating itself. We operate on an average of 8 to 10 hours in a day, standing. Then people ask, "Where's your brakes?" I said, "No, we don't have brakes. We just it's an auto mode. It's like driving a car. We just chatting, gossiping, music, and then we just
Wait, do
we
you
just
tell me
have a-
like there's music in the
Of course,
operation
yeah.
theater?
Why do you call it called Operation Theater?
Oh.
Theater's got music. We need
Yeah.
music. Yeah, that's some good fun we have.
Right. I don't know, for some reason, I always thought that maybe it's a very tense situation in the operation theater because, I mean, I don't think it's my fault. That's how it was always portrayed in the movies. Like, okay, there's a door shutting, there's a red
Yeah.
light blink, and then there's like a very intense, serious operation going on. The family's outside panicking, and then the operation light goes off, and then they come and tell the news.
Of course, we have control on things.
Yeah.
It's not that we play the fool around in theaters.
Yeah.
We know when it goes wrong, it goes wrong. It goes pear shaped. So we are careful. I mean, we've been doing. I've been in transplants for about this 17th, 18th year now. So we have some control.
Got it.
So
And it's absolutely naturally human. I think, yeah, this answer
Yeah.
is very natural that obviously when someone is standing and doing the operation for 8 to 10
Yeah.
hours,
yeah.
there is going to be some chat that's going to have, there might be some instrumental music in the
Yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, how does a human function like that?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So there are 2 people who inspired me to take on liver surgery as a profession. One was my uncle. He died of liver disease when I was in my second year, third year of medical school. And at that point, there was no medicines for the virus which he had. So unfortunately, he died. So that really hit me hard. But really, the main true inspiration was the second person. He was the first qualified gastroenterologist of the country. He was the first person to do a transplant in the country
Really?
way back in 1996. And this particular person ended up having a blood splash when he was operating in theater. And he was infected by a virus called the hepatitis B virus. Okay. And unfortunately, the virus caught on to him. And again, when that blood splash happened, there was no medicines for that particular virus. Now we have some amazing medicines, but at that point, there was no medicines. And he ended up having a cirrhosis liver, which means the liver got shrunken. So the first person who did the transplant in the country,
He himself got
had.
cirrhosis.
And then he underwent a transplant in the year 2012, 2011, 2012.
Okay.
Okay, so that he's gone a full cycle. So he did a transplant,
Yeah.
and he underwent a transplant himself. That's none other than my father.
Really?
Yeah. So my family has gone through that full cycle.
Oh.
So people ask me, "Oh, you don't know how we feel." I think I know how I feel because my family has gone through worse. We've gone through discussions, we've gone through difficult times of decision making.
I think it's quite unimaginable in that state, knowing
Yeah.
someone who specializes in that profession.
Yeah, because I know the
has to go
complications
through
that can happen. I know how a transplant can go wrong.
How old were you when this happened?
So you want to know my age now, right? Oh,
No,
yeah.
I mean,
So I was thinking I was 37, 38, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So so that really pushed me. My father was affected. So this uncle who died was my father's brother.
Oh.
So my father's brother died of liver disease. So my father had liver disease, and I thought there's enough reason for me to become a liver specialist.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have. We thought that, I thought that I have to give something back to the society. So we have to do something, specialize in something which was not available then, and that's why I went to UK, stayed there for a decade almost, and learned the technique, and I came back. Of course, there are lots of people now doing good work. There's no doubt about it. But 2010 there was hardly any. But I'm pleased that I was able to contribute quite a bit, and I'm still contributing quite a bit to the society. There's so many different things which we do, but this is why I got into liver medicine.
When you're talking, it's because I've read about you and I know of your foundation as well. Why don't you bring that to light? And what are the functions or what are the programs that you do to spread awareness? Because I know you dedicate your weekends in order to spread awareness about the liver disease. Because like you said, it's better to be aware than just go ahead and see what it is. About the programs that you do and what is your mission and vision?
So my father, as I said, my father did the first transplant in the year 1996, right? At Stanley Hospital, government Stanley Hospital, with no facilities. He did a transplant, and the patient did survive for quite a bit of time. Then subsequently, of course, he did a few transplants after that, but subsequently he realized that liver disease is expensive. It's not affordable for many people. And he thought that he has to do something for the society, right? No, so what he did was he founded this organization called Chennai Liver Foundation.
Yes.
Okay. Now CLF or Chennai Liver Foundation was started then, and then what my father used to do was, some affluent patient comes, he gives him some money, so he uses on the poor patients. So that's what he was doing. For the last 8-9 years or post my father's surgery, what I have done is I've formalized the organization. We brought in a lot of people on board, and as you said, one is we are creating awareness. Two is we are creating we're screening people for liver disease, right? So we go out in the community, we screen them free of cost. Of course, if there is a chance, and we also vaccinate them. Of course, it doesn't prevent all liver diseases, but at least something comes in their radar.
Right.
Saying that, there's something called the liver. So we hand out a lot of pamphlets to tell them good things about the liver, how to take care of the liver, so on and so forth. Now, what we want to do is capacity building, which is teaching the doctors itself. Still there are lots of doctors who do not know how to manage a viral hepatitis, how to manage liver disease. I think doctors should know some basic things before referring on to, or they should know when to refer on to a higher specialist. Because the city is not a problem. city's got enough number of doctors. But if you go to the periphery, tier 2, tier 3 city, the doctors are not aware as to when to do, what to look for, so on and
I'd
so forth.
agree.
So I think I thought it's time that we get on to capacity building and start a formal training program. I think we will launch it in the next 6 months or so to help people in training. But my ultimate goal is to reduce the cost of transplantation so that it becomes more affordable. I was able to afford my father's transplant, but I don't think many can. So I'm going to help people and reduce the cost of transplantation so that many have the access to that technology.
Understood. Okay. Coming back to our point of discussion, you told there was a blood splash during the surgery.
Yeah.
That's how we developed hepatitis.
Correct.
Right? What are the symptoms to look out for in hepatitis?
So before that, if I may tell you a couple of lines about hepatitis.
Yeah, that will be helpful.
Yeah. So hepatitis means just a swelling of the liver.
Okay.
Okay. So swelling of the liver can happen in many conditions. One is obviously alcohol. Second is fat in that liver. Third is virus.
Okay.
Right. There are at least 5 different types of viruses which we know of that will affect the liver.
Okay.
Right. Now it's very easily named as A, B, C, D, and E.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for convenience purposes, I'm going to club A and E together, B and C together. D is not existent in India, so I won't worry too much about it. Hepatitis A and hepatitis E can spread through unclean food and unclean water.
Okay.
Okay, which means that we never ever get to see hepatitis A or E in the Western world. Okay, in Indian subcontinent we see it like crazy. Why? Because the street food, the amount of pani puri vendors.
Correct.
God only knows if he even washes his hands.
Even the nannari sharbat that we take,
Oh,
the
yeah.
lime soda.
Apparently there's a more tata there near Gemini, where
there is one in
people go to.
Tiruvallur also.
Yeah. So where does water come from?
Huh.
How does he store these water? Do we know? We don't know. Does he clean his hands? Pani puri filler, does he clean his hands? Where is he scratch after you turn that side?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So there's good studies from Delhi street vendors where they found out that there are some toxic bacteria found in pani puri water. Okay, we have to understand that not everyone's going to get infected. People come around and say, "Oh, I've had this for donkey's years. I've never had it." You'll only get affected when your immunity is low, and you'll never get to know when your immunity is going to be low.
Right.
Okay, so the hepatitis A and hepatitis E is spread through what we call a fecal-oral content. In other words, unclean food and unclean water.
Okay.
Okay, jaundice comes, it stays there for a few days, and it disappears off. Okay, it's what we call a self-limiting disease. Okay, it'll just go off in a few days. I'm sure you ask your grandparents or ask your parents, they would say, "Oh, எனக்கு சின்ன வயசுல மஞ்சக்காமலை வந்துச்சு."
ஆமா.
Okay, it'll last for a week or so, and then it'll disappear off. You don't have to do anything. Very rarely, this form of virus will cause what we call acute liver failure, where the liver fails dramatically over 24-48 hours time, for which a transplant is certainly required. Okay, but that's very rare. The more serious condition is caused by hepatitis B and hepatitis C virus.
Okay.
Okay, data today suggests that 2% of Indian population have got the virus. Okay, our population is 1.3 billion, and if it's 2%, you can do the math.
Yeah.
It's a huge number. A lot of people are affected with the hepatitis B and hepatitis C. Okay, so this is spread by blood and body fluids. Right. So what are the ways of transmission? One is needle stick injuries.
Okay.
Okay. Second is unclean needles. If you go still towards the peripheries and villages, they boil the needles and the doctor gives the injection.
Okay.
So sterile needles are important.
Got
Okay. Unprotected sex, multiple sexual partners. Okay. Tattooing, which is very, very fashion these days.
Yeah.
There's no harm in having a tattoo,
Yeah.
but make sure the needle is clean.
Yes.
Make sure it's a fresh needle all the time. Okay. IV drug users, they share the needles. Again, It's their right to have IV drugs. That's not my problem. But the problem is, if you share needles, you're going to transmit the disease. Okay, so I think that is important, and of course it can also come from mother to child, what we call
Okay.
vertical transmission. So these are the ways by which B and C can get transmitted: hepatitis B and hepatitis C. Now it's going to stay in your body for a very long time, okay, and it will cause cancers, or it can cause cancers, and over a period of time, the liver can start shrinking, what we call cirrhosis liver, and people end up with a transplant.
Okay.
There are good drugs available for hepatitis C, which can cure the disease. There are good drugs available for hepatitis B, which can treat the disease. There is a difference between treating and curing. Okay, but the good thing about Hep B is that there is a vaccine which is available, and which we have. There are 3 doses which is required, and if we have it, you're protected for life. Okay, of course, the government of India is giving this vaccine at birth. I think for the last 15, 17 years now. But our foundation, what we are working on is that we are pushing everyone between the age of 18 to 60 to have the vaccines. Okay, I think that is important, because you can get the vaccine anytime during that lifetime, because that is when you're sexually active. You can use personal items.
Okay.
Clippers and scissors, and there are instances where hepatitis B is spread through barbers.
Really?
Yeah, so we have to be quite careful with the personal items which are being used. So we've done a fair bit of work in viral hepatitis area in our foundation. I think we are one of the largest in India to do maximum number of community screenings.
That's awesome.
In India, and we are a part of the board. We're a board member of an organization called World Hepatitis Alliance, which is an offset of WHO, the World Health Organization. So we are reasonably known for the work which we do for hepatitis. So hepatitis is a completely preventable thing. Clean food, clean water, no hepatitis A or E. And all the other mentioned modes of transmission of B and C, you prevent all that, you're not going to get B and C.
Understood.
Get vaccinated for Hep B. You're never going to get the virus actually. So it is a dreadful disease. A lot of people are still dying, but I think with good awareness, I'm sure we can prevent this.
Which is more common? Do you see A and E more common, or do you see B and C being the more common one?
I think B and C is more common.
Okay.
Yeah, A&E, they of course in India the problem is data collection.
Right.
It's not uniform, it's not standard. People in villages, they just stay there and have some medicines, have some native medicines, and then they just never go to a hospital. Okay, but city people of course go to the hospital. At this juncture, 2 things which I want to say is that jaundice is not a disease. Time and again people come and ask me, sir, manjaka malik marandu kudunga. Give me a tablet for jaundice. Boss, I tell you, there's no tablet for jaundice. Your liver gets okay, your jaundice settles down. Okay? So, if you get jaundice, yellow eyes, yellow passing of high colored urine, go get yourself tested first. Okay? To see what is happening in that liver, rather than going for some native medicines. That is my second point. Okay? Native medicines is a killer. Okay? There are enough number of people who trust native medicines, enough number of people even today who take native medicines across the state, across India, I have to say. But they're all mixed with heavy metals and toxic substances which create more havoc.
Okay.
Remember, liver will recover by itself. Liver will regenerate by itself. You just need to give it some time. You need to understand why the patient has got jaundice. You go to these quacks, they don't understand anything. For everything there's only one legume they give you, right? They'll give you a ball of greens, and then you have to swallow that.
Yeah.
Okay, the jaundice can happen because of stones in your gallbladder, because of stones in your bile duct. It can happen because of cancers. It can happen because of virus. It can because of alcoholic liver disease. It can happen because of fatty liver disease. So many things can cause jaundice. How is it that just one small ball of greens is good enough for all the problems? So no native medicines, no, big no to all these
And
things.
also say no Google doctor.
Oh, That's another thing. Yeah, but I think the smart kids these days want to Google and come and ask us all sorts of questions. So that's difficult. But I think we have to get used to it with more and more coming up, especially Chat GPT. You put your symptoms, put your blood test. Chat GPT is going to give you a diagnosis. Which probably is more smarter than a doctor.
But
I
there
feel.
is no efficacy there, and this people need to understand, or very less efficacy, if I have to mention.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a clever guy would not trust these things,
Yeah.
But that's not the case, is it? Google, you just do it on your phone, and within a matter of seconds, you're going to get your diagnosis, And there's so much unverified information,
Very true.
Anyone can put up a web page. Anyone can advertise themselves. Anyone could put in extra money into Google Ads and get a sponsored and be on the top of the page. So it is extremely unverified. People need to understand that. People need to understand whom they are consulting with. Is he a proper doctor? Is he properly trained? Is it credible information? Was what you need to know.
Or you know
before-
what you need to do? Follow Dr.
Oh
Vivek.
yeah. No, this is not an ad session though.
Yeah, no, this is telling. We know where to get credible information from. But it was really interesting to know this, and especially about hepatitis A and E.
Yeah.
Oh wow. But I think still the narrative will only be like, do you think moderation is the key for everything? Let me circle back to our initial conversation where we speak about social drinking.
Yeah.
Every party is incomplete, but if one cannot avoid, or if
Yeah.
there's such a circumstance,
Yeah.
like I there are instances where we feel like I don't want to be the odd one out. Everyone in my office is drinking, might have to maybe take like a drink or two.
Yeah.
But what is it that you would advise in this generation, especially maybe like 10 years ago it wasn't mandatory, but right now it's becoming a culture.
Yeah.
So what is it, how can we balance both health and this?
I think you use the right word, moderation,
Yeah.
right? But what is a moderation? We do
True,
not
that's
know.
a very good one.
Okay. Now there are enough studies in the Western world,
Right.
okay, which suggest that, and of course, based on those studies, the government has given guidelines which suggest that an adult, a male, I think they've made male and female both equal now, they can have 15 units of alcohol a week. Okay,
Okay.
that this is in UK now. Now 1 unit of alcohol is 30 ml.
Okay.
Okay, which if people want to understand, it's a small, right? One small whiskey is or a glass of wine, or a vodka or gin or whatever it is, is a unit of alcohol, which means you can have 15 units of alcohol a week. Okay, you need 2 days of break.
Okay.
Okay, but the most important thing, you cannot accumulate all the 15 units of alcohol onto the weekend. Okay, you cannot have all the 15 minutes of alcohol on a Friday. Okay, now this study, can we use it in India? Or this guideline, can we use it in India? I don't know is the answer. Why? Because our genetic makeup is different.
True.
The food which we eat is completely different.
Yeah.
It's carbs loaded, right? We have to have our rice and sambar and rasam and tair. Okay, there's absolutely no protein in the diet. Okay, every other person in India is a diabetic. Okay, which means fatty liver is a huge menace.
Yeah.
Okay, so which means you're attacking the liver with two things. One is fatty liver, the other is alcoholic liver disease.
True.
So I'm just thinking that whether we should just half of what UK is doing. If they say 15 units, okay, let's do 7 units of
7
alcohol.
minutes, yeah.
Okay, as I said, this is just my personal thoughts.
Yeah.
I think some studies, I think we should form a group, and doctors need to come around and study this and get a proper white paper on these things. But maybe we should do that.
Yeah.
The problem is, once we get used to it, it becomes a go-to thing. I think we started off saying,
Just one.
Yeah, just one, and then your friend comes from US, and then you say, you're gonna have only one drink? No, have another with me, right? It just starts on and on and
Always
on.
starts like
okay,
that.
so I think we have to be aware Our willpower
And
needs to
also
be
there
there.
is glamorization of such things in
Yeah.
movies like Arjun
Yeah.
Reddy. Have you seen that movie?
No,
Have you
no
seen
movies.
Animal?
I haven't seen any movies for a
Okay,
long
I'm
time.
glad you didn't.
Yeah.
But sir, in that movie, what happens is there's a lot of glamorization of alcohol that happens,
Yeah.
and perhaps I must say every other movie, though there is a very kutti tagline there in
Correct.
center like alcohol is injurious, like a very kutti chumma they put it
Yeah.
there. Uh, because of this glamorization, what they show is I understand they're doing it on a filmmaking perspective,
Yeah.
but a human psychology voice, what happens is okay, that hero or that heroine is feeling sad, they are consuming alcohol, it is helping them. They
Yeah.
are happy they are consuming alcohol, it is helping them.
Yeah.
So I will do the same in my life.
Correct.
If I go to a party, if I don't have alcohol, it is going to be
It's a taboo.
incomplete.
Yeah.
Yes, it's literally it's becoming a taboo.
Yeah.
People are forced to drink now. If you don't drink, you are looked down upon.
Yeah.
Yeah. In those cases, I feel somehow both the parties will have to come to a middle way.
Yeah.
And if you're not drinking, well and good, you're doing good for your health.
Yeah.
But in case you are, like you told, like you mentioned about the word habit,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe moderation is the.
Yeah, because we
actual
start drinking only at 10 p.m. in the night,
key. Yeah.
right? And then it goes up until 1 p.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m. And then after that, you have your midnight biryani, right?
True.
And then what happens to all this biryani?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are just creating so much toxic environment in our system.
Right.
Okay, and we and I haven't seen a guy just stop with one drink. Correct? You know, we drink like a fish.
Yeah.
No, that's a huge problem. So I think awareness is required. Some moderation is required. Education is required about alcoholic liver disease. I have to admit that one drink a day is not going to knock your liver off. I'm sure anyone can challenge me on that.
Okay.
It will not knock your liver off. Okay, because the liver has got the capacity to nullify the toxic effects of alcohol. 130 ml of a drink is not going to do any harm. Okay, but the problem is we don't stop with that 30 ml. That's a problem. You know, on top of it, as I said, the amount of deep fried food which we have,
Very true.
your chili chicken and finger fish and whatnot, you know, late night food. So I think education, people need to be aware of the ill effects of alcohol and the amount they can drink.
True. Maybe one last question about this topic would be I really wanted to ask was, does it make a difference drinking local saraku or like imported saraku?
um, there are lots and lots and lots of myths about
Yeah.
alcohol.
Because
Lots
people
of
come in
myths.
like
So I
local
was-
sarak kudichadan tappu, we can have
Yeah.
imported ones, imported are good.
Yeah. So even today I saw a patient who said, "Sir, நான் whiskey குடிக்க நிறுத்திட்டேன் சார், பியர் மட்டும் தான் சார் குடிக்கிறேன்." அரே boss, everything is the same. You know, the volume is different, the percentage of alcohol could be slightly different, but it's all the same. The liver is going to take a hit. Yesterday I met not a patient, a friend of mine who said that, "Boss, before I have a drink, I have a lot of cheese." I said, "Why?"
How does
Because it coats the stomach and then it prevents absorption of alcohol. You know, I said that is another myth. You know, there are lots and lots of things. You know, you take your pan 40. There's something called Udiliv, which is a tablet. You take them. It nullifies the effect of alcohol. You have fruits as your side dish.
Yeah, I've heard that
You know,
too.
and they say that fruits is antioxidant. You know, it will nullify the effect of alcohol. This is all myth. Okay, alcohol is alcohol. It is going to get absorbed in your body. The liver, it has to go through your liver. Okay, so there is no way you can escape the effects of alcohol. So for heaven's sake, please don't believe any myths which come out in all these Instagram and Facebook pages.
Yeah.
I don't think they are true.
Talking about myths, sir, it's become more of a version like இது சாப்பிட்டாலும் உடம்புக்கு கெட்டது, அது குடிச்சாலும் உடம்புக்கு கெட்டது, இது பண்ணாலும் தப்பு. So anything and everything, the internet has two sides. Because I mean, the other day I was just very surprised. They were like, even like, okay, you need to stop having these fruits. I'm like, they are fruits, for God's sake. I was grown up telling that fruits are good for health.
Yeah.
Paaka pona, I think they'll also tell like water is bad for your health. Just stop drinking water. But please help us understand that how can we verify certain things? Because I feel that everyone's body type is different. Certain foods might be good for me, certain foods might not be good.
Yeah.
But how is it that we can verify these information?
It is difficult. I mean, with social media just booming like crazy,
True.
and there's no regulation. You can only go on challenge and comment on these pages, but I very difficult for me to or anyone to control this information. Now, I think the truth is that fruits are good, vegetables are good. There's no doubts about it. They say this cauliflower is good for your brain, and beetroot is good for your blood. So all these things are just again myths. Vegetables are good in general. There's
Yeah.
lots of good stuff in vegetables, lots of good stuff in fruits. Again, all these things in moderation is good. Of course, if you're a diabetic, then you need to cut down
Yeah.
on your fruits. It is extremely difficult to go and verify this information because there's no data on any of these things. There is no studies which says oranges cannot be having by such a people. There are no studies which suggest that bananas are harmful for such a people.
Got
you know so it's very difficult to verify. Of course, the best thing is go to a doctor,
Doctor.
go to a nutritionist, ask them about this information. But end of the day, a balanced diet is extremely important. Lot of fluids is important. There are again a lot of myths. It says that early morning you don't drink cold water. During a meal you don't drink water.
Yeah.
All these are myths. There's no science behind any of these things, and I'm surprised that a lot of credible people come out with various kinds of advices which you're not supposed to be doing, right? It's an era of evidence-based medicine, and everything has to be backed by evidence.
Understood.
Scientific evidence which is published in some good network. So fruits and vegetables, and it's all good. Non-vegetarian is also good. Chicken is good, fish is good, or anything white meat is good, right? But again, if you ask me what is not good, then I certainly would say anything which is very refined is not good. Refined sugar is not good. Rice is
100%.
not good.
Yeah.
Your maida is not good. So I think you have to be careful in what you're eating.
Understood.
Yeah.
So because you've told so much about your organization and the work that you do, how is it that a common person, or if I want to contribute something, or if I want to be a part, how is it that I can reach, and how is it that I can contribute to it?
Oh, I think we have an active social media page and an web page.
Okay.
So you just need to write to us or call us. We have lots of events happening.
Great.
I'd be great if people come forward and be participating in our events. They can volunteer in our events, or if someone wants some activity in their community, I'm more than happy to come and have a chat. Or if a corporate wants a talk for their for their people, for their workforce, then I'm happy to do that. And of course, if you got some excess money, want to share some and help some poor people, I'm more than happy to take that too.
That would
Yeah.
be great.
So that's our foundation webpage is ChennaiLiverFoundation.org. And of course, the Instagram page is Chennai Liver Foundation, and Facebook is also the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll surely encourage people to connect with you.
Thank you.
And before we let you go, there's one important question that I have to ask is, if you can tell me 5 steps that we can take in order to maintain a good liver health.
Yeah.
5 steps or 5 things that we can do.
Okay. Exercise for 30 minutes a day. Okay. Eat a balanced diet. Have your vaccination. Okay. Moderation of alcohol. And have a liver test once every year after 40. That's important. Okay. Because prevention is better than cure. You have to pick up things early. It can be completely cured.
Right. All right. It was amazing talking to you, sir. Thank you so much for all the detailed information.
Hope I didn't bore you.
No, honestly, that's what I was coming to tell you, that I think was very insightful, and it felt it's rare to see doctors having such a calm conversation like that, like laid back, in a way that the delivery of the context is really right. I definitely enjoyed, and I'm sure our audience too will have loads of information to take back. And even if, I feel that from this conversation today, even if we can save or affect or bring change in the life of one person, it's
Yeah.
worth it.
Thank you. I enjoyed it too. My first podcast.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
liked it.
Yeah, of course.
I'm so glad you liked it. I was just
Yeah.
going to ask how was your whole experience about the podcast.
I need to see the output, but I hope it's good. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm sure we'll take
I
care
hope
of
I
the-
wasn't monotonous and
No. It was really amazing talking to you, sir. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Very
Thank
kind.
you. Yeah, yeah.
thank you.
So with that, we of course come to an end of the podcast session. You know where to find us. I'm going to also link doctor's organization website, Instagram handle, his own Instagram handle, so you can always connect with him. It was a pleasure having a lot of insights that I must say today that I gained about the liver, which is called the silent organ of the body, but yet again the most crucial one given this era of culture. I'll see you again very shortly in the next episode. Until then, please stay safe, eat healthy, spread love and kindness. Thank you.